Hello there, everyone, and welcome to the EDH Jank Center podcast. This is a cheeky little show hosted by two best friends where we break down 5 janky, budget, or underutilized cards every other week. These cards may not be the best, most efficient, or even good, but here at the Jank Center, we believe every single card deserves a chance to shine. And as always, and for the first time ever, I am your host, Jordan, and today I am joined by my co-host, the incredible Crest Lightning, everyone.
What is up? What is up?
That was the audience.
We don't have an audience.
Telling you.
Well, we do have an audience.
Love you so much.
It's not a live. I love you too. We don't have a live audience
that you know of.
Well, yeah.
I'm gonna insert some like live audience clapping in this so that we have that.
Oh, that's cool. Should I create little guys on the side of the screen?
For those watching on YouTube, you know that we have an animated version of this podcast available on YouTube to watch, where all the cards we talk about pop up. So if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, honestly, get smoked.
Just don't. Kidding, I love you. Continue watching on those platforms that you like.
Yeah, just kidding. I love you.
But also, maybe just like check out the YouTube thumbnails so you can see our little cute designs I work very hard on.
Crest designs all of our art. They are amazing. But yeah, it's kind of what we do here on the podcast. My whole channel, if you're here from the channel, you kind of know my whole vibe. I just really love talking about cards that no one else really talks about or gives love to.
Cards that does stuff.
Yeah, anything that isn't a staple. Like, we all know that they're good. Those are good. But like, what about the 20 million other cards that are printed in Magic the Gathering? Let's talk about them. Let's give them some love, and that's what we're all about here.
Some uncommons, if you will. Or commons. Both.
Commons, uncommons too. Like, did you know that oh my god, what is it called? Oh, Woodborn Behemoth is an uncommon. It's literally just like a 5/5 or something. But it was like printed at uncommon.
No, I didn't know that.
Hello everyone, Jordan from the editing booth here, just to tell you that this is a complete mistake. I do not know what I was talking about. Major L to start off the podcast, but we're just gonna keep on trucking, okay? My brother's first album is named Woodborn because he saw the name on the Magic card with Woodborn Behemoth and was like, "That's sick."
That's
and
like a very specific.
His first album name.
That's a very specific like reference to a very specific band that how many people are gonna be crossing over to hear this fact.
What's the crossover between my brother's first like proper band? He plays extreme death metal. It's called Proliferation. Their first album is called Woodborn. It's very good. And the listeners of my pod, that'd be crazy.
Probably a good amount of people listen to death metal who play Magic the Gathering, and vice versa, like metalheads who like Magic cards. But
honestly, yeah,
my brain who's like metalheads who like Magic cards, like they're older than us. Like they were playing like when three set blocks were a thing, which is not that long ago, but it feels like it is. Like,
sure, because we've been so saturated with stuff that it's like it's like a whole lifetime ago. I feel like.
Hey, I can't complain.
Only started.
We got Lord of the Rings. I can't complain.
Listen, same. As much as people complain about the universes beyond or whatever. The Lord of the Rings set.
That's for a different podcast.
That is for a different pod. Yeah, we're not going to talk. We're going to talk about it a little bit, but we're not going to talk about it like the whole time.
Yeah.
Let's just get into it, right? Like
cards,
start.
Cards.
And our first card of the day is a very sentimental choice. Crest and I have a lot of history. We are best friends. We've been playing Magic together for 4+ years now, and the first card today is Fog Bank, everyone.
One could say it's the best card ever made. It's the best card, and nobody can take that away from me.
100%. I also believe that this is like top 10 best cards in Magic the Gathering, and no real logic behind it. It's just like a vibe, a feeling, if you will. It's a 1 in a blue creature. It's a wall. It has Defender and flying, and it says, most importantly, prevent all combat damage that would be dealt to and dealt by Fog Bank, and it's a 0/2.
I love this card. I don't know if I made that clear. This is my favorite card.
Yeah.
And I think it's a cheeky card, but I don't think it's like the meanest card of all time. I think people can get salty about this kind of like control stalling play style, but I think this card is very like, you can remove it if you want. It can be destroyed.
Right.
It doesn't attack. I can't even buff it. Because what use is buffing it?
Yeah.
Other than to survive, I guess, like poison counters, but it doesn't deal any combat damage. It doesn't deal any combat damage, right? Like it is prevented as well. So there's no. It's just a little guy.
If you attack it, I love imagining it's like the flavor of it is you send a 1/1 soldier into like a bank of fog, and he's like, ah, and he like charges with his sword held high, and then he just kind of gets lost,
or he just like pops out the other end,
right? Like, and nothing hurts him. He doesn't hurt anyone. That's just the flavor, and that always geeks me out. Just imagining like the literal scenarios. But anyways, I honestly don't even think this card is, I think you mentioned like control or something. I genuinely just think it's like a really, really solid pillow forting card. Yeah. Every single time this has hit the field, at least in a game of mine, so it has completely changed game actions.
Yeah.
A certain, like, if someone's wanting to get a creature in for combat damage, and you slam a fog bank down, unless they want to waste, again, it would be, I think it's bad enough of a card, not as like game breaking enough to warrant, like, if you single target remove this, what are you doing? You know what I mean? Like,
right.
You should absolutely be saving your removal for something else.
Right. Early game, it could be a waste of removal. And I think what I like about playing this card the most is that it's not a perfect pillow fort card, but it is a card that it's not a game winning piece. It's just an early game piece that gives you that extra turn, right? Like, is somebody going to risk now sending 2 of their attackers at you if they only have 2 on the board and leaving themselves open? So, you know, just to get in that direct damage, right? I think it's just a nice piece of utility.
Agreed.
And not just early game. I think it's good at any point of the game. Making sure somebody wastes 1 piece on the board, whatever that means. Just having them think about that extra step.
Yeah.
It gives you just a little bit of time if you need it.
100%.
And I play a lot of blue, which is why this is my favorite card. Don't be mean to me. I like blue cards. Blue is my favorite color. It's not because I like being mean, but I also like being mean sometimes at the table. I like being a little. I like being a little chaos player. I don't love. I'm not trying to win. I'm just trying to ruin everybody's day. And Fogbank is just one of those pieces that's like just a little annoying.
Sure.
And I think that makes it very special.
Yeah, it's just a little guy. It's just like a little guy, and like it just hits the field. It just changes the state of the game. However, minuscule that might be, it does change it. It changes people's game actions, and that can cause like a chain of events that might end up making the game swing in your favor eventually. It gives you, like you said, that one extra turn, that one more life, or whatever amount of life saved because someone didn't swing at you.
Right.
That can make all the difference in the world down the line once you're deep into a game of Magic.
Right. What I like about playing like this, and in our kind of groups, is I like making sure everybody else at the table gets that vibe. So it's not even just for me swinging in my favor. It might swing in somebody else's favor because now they're thinking about this card, right? So they might swing somebody else or target somebody else. Not in like a manipulative way, but just it changes the interactions of the games. It makes people play a little differently, no matter how early or late this card is used. And that's what the game is about for me. I really like sitting at the table and watching people play with each other. It's about the game. It's about playing the game together. And this is one of those pieces that makes everybody think, do I deal with this now? Do I wait? It's a very table politics piece that isn't too like, hey, everybody stop playing the video or stop the video game. Yeah, it's a Freudian slip. Hey, everybody stop playing the game right now. Stop playing the tabletop game, the card game.
I also want to mention that it's cheap to cast, and it can come down very early as a result, or late in the game and leave you up a ton of mana to, utilize other resources you have as well. And also for memes, I run this in my Orvar the Allform deck, which is all about like making tons of copies of creatures.
Yeah. Oh, so you can make a bunch of copies of Fogbank.
That's my dream, is to just make like like the battlefield is just so foggy you can't see like anything in front of you, and they have no purpose. Like it would be such a dumb play, objectively speaking. However, subjectively, it would make me very happy, and I like it. So that's one, why I haven't taken it out of the deck, and two, why I still have an Orvar deck, because there's definitely like mono blue decks that I want to build. Personally, I have like this thing where I'm trying to have like one deck of every color and every color combo.
Yeah.
So I already have a mono blue deck, and I don't want to take it apart just because I haven't reached that goal yet.
Right.
And once I do, I will take it apart probably.
100%.
But I got to get there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I like I think this card is interesting because it's also a flyer. And obviously blue and flying have a lot of synergies together. So there's a good chance you could play this for a single blue. A lot of cards in the flying category.
Sure.
Make it so other cards with flying cost colorless less. So
little Warden of Evos Isle type vibes.
So I think it's having the flying on there. Obviously flavor, because even birds get caught in the fog. Right. But it's
that's the thing too, is like it can stop things that we don't really like. Having a creature with flying or reach, it's so invaluable. You never know when someone's going to plop down a gigantic dragon, or what is that card from Haunt of the High Tower or something like that, where these big flying creatures that typically will be, you know, a problem.
It gives you that extra turn.
They're just gonna get lost in the fog.
Yeah,
they're just gonna get lost in the fog for 2 mana. Oh,
yeah, it's great.
So good. And I just thought it was a great selection to like start off this podcast journey with you and I, just because I remember when you played this for the first time, I was like new to Magic.
Right.
This was like 2019. I had never really played Magic before, and you were like, yeah, it can't take damage and it cannot deal damage. And I was like, what?
Variables I had never considered before.
I was like, that is the most broken card in the world.
No, but it's not.
Like, no, of course. But like back in the day,
you can murder
me,
it.
That was
you can exile it.
Yeah, absolutely. But like at the time, I was like, oh my God, this is like broken. And just it sort of stoked that passion that I still have when I see like a really cool card or something that really excites me intellectually, or in a way of that interests me in sort of a deck building context.
Yeah.
And so I thought that was a cute little first selection for us.
On an unrelated note, I just finished the video game Persona 4 Golden, in which...
Oh, is that the game you were texting me about?
No, but we can cut this out of the podcast, but it is related to the game I was texting you about. I just finished Persona 4 Golden, in which Fog is one of the main characters of the game.
So we are keeping this in the podcast because that's related.
Yeah, it is like a major piece of Persona 4, and I just think it's really funny because I just finished that game.
Oh, nice. So it's all like coalescing into this very unique experience for you.
Yeah, wow. Right now, in the moment.
For those of you who don't know, Cress is a huge gamer, and I am not. I don't even really know. I just know that that one Smash character is from Persona
Joker
5 or 4. Yeah, Joker.
It's from 5. Yeah.
That's really all I kind of know, and that's it.
You should, though, because the music slaps, and you should listen to it.
Yeah, that is fair enough. I do not listen to enough like scores or like video game music for sure. That's something I need to get on for show. There's that one anime you sent me. It's like
Dr. Stone.
Caveman. Dr. Stone, yeah.
Dr. Caveman.
That like
maybe it's my new favorite idea.
It was around the same thing. I don't know. But okay, all right. Next card. Let's move on to the next card, shall we?
Cards.
The next card is Leyline Prowler.
This is also nostalgic. This is like the same but different.
Yeah, this is like, I don't know. I guess I was just feeling very sentimental when I chose this list. But Leyline Prowler, for those of you who do not know, it is 1 and a black-green creature, nightmare beast. It's in a lot of different... Oh, it's actually not. Oh my God, I'm just checking Scryfall. I thought this was reprinted a bunch of times, but it was only printed in War of the Spark and Commander 2021.
So people aren't using this card?
I guess not. I mean, we'll get into that. It has Death Touch and Lifelink, and you can tap it to add 1 mana of any color, and it's a 2/3. So
rocks that do stuff.
I don't know. I don't know. Yes. But we'll get to that. The reason I wanted to put this also on the list was, do you remember we had so we used to live in LA, Cress and I, we now live in different
somewhere
places.
Else.
Yeah. We're not going to dox ourselves right now. But we live in different places now, but we used to get together with a friend group basically multiple times a week and we'd be playing Magic. And we had this running list of like what we thought were underrated cards. And I remember Fogbank and Leyline Prowler
on that list
were both like,
What's
because
that?
To me, it's like it does so many things.
Yeah.
Not only is it like a mana rock and it fixes mana in any color, so you can run this in any deck that's green and black. You can run it in Jund, which is like red, green, and black, and 5 color, whatever it is. Most people would say that it's not used because it is green and black itself, and it's very narrow as a result. You can only really use it in those kinds of builds.
Not in Commander, baby.
And also, that's the brand, baby. That's what we do here. We're going to talk about why this is a good card rather than why it's a bad card. Because we don't have to be negative Nellies all the time, okay? This is supposed to be a fun little silly game.
Whoa.
Sorry, I've been traumatized by too many comments on my YouTube shorts being like, this sucks. This is
really? You get comments like that?
Oh my god, all the time.
Everybody's
People
so nice
flame
in the
me
Discord.
on the internet so much about it. The Discord is like my safe space. By the way, we have a Discord that's free to join. You can join in the what a segue. You can join us in the show notes, the description. It's everywhere. It's free to join. We do giveaways in there. It's very fun. But we'll talk about that later. I'm just saying it's like my safe space, because then I'll get flamed on the internet and they'll be like, you got this ruling wrong. You're an idiot. And I'll be like, that's true, but also this is a silly little game and I'm not a doctor.
Yeah.
So I don't know everything.
No.
And then all the people in the Discord are like, it's okay. Like,
yeah,
everyone makes mistakes. And I'm like, ugh, you know.
You know a heck of a lot more about this game than I do, and I've been playing for a decade.
I feel like it's one of those games where I basically every single game have to look up something, because there's like an interaction, at least in Commander, where because we have access to all the cards that have been printed basically, besides maybe some unsets, but even then you could rule 0 those in if your play group is okay with that. You're just constantly running into interactions that have never happened before, at least to you or to anyone at the table.
Yeah.
Anyways, that's my venting for the day. We're gonna go back to Leyline Prowler.
Yes.
So it can fix your mana, 1 mana of any color. But what I really love is that it's also a creature with not only lifelink, but death touch. And this is another one of those, like what we were talking about with Fogbank, where it's like it's basically a pseudo ghostly prison. It's a pseudo pillow forting card.
Yeah.
Because you slap something down with death touch and you are immediately changing people's decision making when it comes to attacking. And it's not like Fogbank, where if you attack into Fogbank, the attacking creature is also untouched, because Fogbank doesn't deal damage itself. Leyline Prowler does. And you'll not only gain life from it, you will also be killing whatever you block.
Right.
And that is huge for changing people's minds.
Yeah, I think the highlight of this card isn't even the death touch and the lifelink. It's the fact that it's a 2/3 with death touch and lifelink. So the fact that it's 2/3 means it's not easy to kill back, right? It's not like it has first strike, so you can't chump block it back even though it has death touch. It's a beefy card for a death toucher. 2/3 is a lot, and you're gaining 2 life off of that lifelink. So there's like 4 things going on with this card that everybody is like, okay, well, I can't just get rid of the death touch lifelinker. I guess I'll just take the 2. I don't know. Like, do I give you life and lose my guy?
Exactly.
Because I'm not going to be able to destroy it.
Especially, you can use this in a way where you can actually have both. You can have the mana and the threat of death touch by keeping it up on your turns, or on your opponent's turns, sorry. And then on the person right before you in turn order, on their end step, you could tap it for mana, maybe use something, activate it, use the mana for an activated ability, you can cast a spell,
a 1-drop.
and then you can do it all over again with, your turn.
Yeah,
and just pass and go.
Yeah, you're baiting with this card, but like also get so versatile.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. And that's what it's so good. It's so good. I love it. I love the fact that it's just like it's a little beastie, and yeah, I dig this. I dig it a lot. And I think people should talk about it more. Should be more Golgari decks. Now, obviously, people don't really enjoy it because also it's a 3 mana dork. And commonly, obviously, you're going to want to ramp way faster than that to keep up with
Not
a lot
us,
of other decks.
baby.
Not us, baby. Also, though, like, I don't know. I've been in a ton of games
if you're gonna play ramp, I'm gonna mill you before you can ramp.
Yeah, Crest was like, "Don't be mad at me," and then was like, "No, I'm just gonna mill you." I used to get so triggered about milling.
It's okay. You solved that problem by teaching me to get triggered about forced combat and sacking. It's cool.
I don't make people sacrifice anymore. One of my first ever commander decks was oh Jesus, it's so antithetical of my playstyle now. But I was just figuring stuff out. I did a Mogus God of Slaughter deck. And I played it like twice and just
everybody was
destroyed. It was miserable. And I was like, I don't think I want. Like
I made
it's nice to win, I guess, but I don't want to make people feel like this anymore.
My Nicol Bolas supervillains deck. Like the 2 games I ever played with it was like, well, everybody has to discard all of their hand. Everybody has to sack all of their creatures on the board, and just like wait until I eventually get enough because I don't put like game winning combos usually in my decks, so they're just like sitting there waiting for the game to end while I'm like, no, nobody can draw anything.
So your Nicol Bolas deck didn't have any win cons?
No. Well, I mean, it did. It has a few win cons, but just by virtue of being powerful cards. But like,
I'm sorry,
but there's not enough ramp in the deck for me to play those efficiently. So I restructured that deck. It's now a Dragons deck.
Ooh, a Grixis Dragons deck?
Yeah, just Grixis Dragons, because I thought that's
very
unique,
fun.
A little unique.
Oh my gosh, that's cute.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that later.
Cool.
I think that's sort of all I want to say about Leyline Prowler. It's also a cutie.
I like that it's got the floor is on fire.
Ooh, that's true. The floor is on. If you're listening, we'll put it up on YouTube. But in the art, there is some flames going on. I think I would assume that this is like something that belongs to the Golgari because it's like it was originally printed in War of the Spark, and it's green and black, and it's a nightmare beast. But there's nothing in the art that sort of indicates that. But I feel like it would be that way. That's kind of what I'm getting, but who knows? If you know, please comment or DM us or join the Discord and talk about it, because I'm actually very curious. I know not that much about lore, and I'm always trying to learn more. So
I know a thing or two.
Would you say that this is from like the Golgari guilds? Is it in the catacombs or whatever?
I would assume it is.
Okay.
But I don't actually know, because it's who is the lured by the ley line? What is the ley line?
I don't even know what that is.
Well,
ley line of.
I've got MTG Wiki up right here. Sometimes called mana lines are ancient mana paths that flow and crisscross each other across a given landscapes. All planes have different networks of ley lines. So this is probably just a ley line in Ravnica. Ley lines formed
but it's something that this is like a beast that lives along those like paths.
So this is in the maze, probably in Ravnica.
Whoa, that's very cool. That is very cool. Well, thanks for providing that little lore context for us. You know what else probably has lore? Our next card.
Oh.
What a segue!
Yeah!
Hell yeah. Okay, cool. We're going to talk about Sanctuary Blade next. And if you've been a watcher of my channel for a while, you know that I absolutely love this card.
Why?
Another semi-sentimental card for us here because I've talked about it a lot. But I'm going to talk about it again because it's great. It is 2 colorless mana. It is an artifact equipment. It says, as Sanctuary Blade becomes attached to a creature, choose a color. Equipped creature gets +2/+0 and has protection from the last chosen color, and its equip cost is 3.
Well,
yeah.
Here's that word again, the special channel word you love so much. Versatility. You can change it.
Yes, you can. It adapts to game situations. It is one of my favorite protection equipment. Not protection like the ability protection, just equipment that protects a creature of yours.
Mm-hmm.
So in the family with Swiftfoot Boots and Lightning Greaves and Whisper Silk Cloak and all that stuff, there lies this little guy who is markedly like cheaper than the rest of those cards that I just mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
It sits at 27 cents at the time of recording, and I think that while it is a bit overcost, like it's not technically overcosted to me, but in comparison to these other equipments, it definitely costs a bit more to get it going.
Yeah,
it's going to cost you 5 total mana. However, it gives you a power buff, which is especially for Voltron strategies, invaluable. And protection is an absolutely amazing ability that basically can give your creature pseudo unblockable. It prevents it from being targeted by certain removal spells. Like, so if you choose black or blue or whatever it red and give it protection from that color, that creature cannot be targeted, equipped, dealt damage, or destroyed by anything of that color.
I think where this card needs, if you're going to play with it in a deck, because it is expensive, you got to have some sort of equipment vibe to help it out. It looks like it lacks a little bit from not being able to protect itself. Right?
Sure.
So the protection only works on the creature, but it's a really expensive card that you can lose very easily. So I think that may be what people are thinking, but why not use it though? I mean, we're playing EDH. This isn't a early game, turn 2, turn 3. Like, why not play it though? I just like, you
Agreed.
get that extra +2, and then late game, you have tons of mana. So,
and especially like, late game, you can be switching this for relatively cheap, especially if you have multiple creatures that you can sort of prioritize what you want. And like you said, especially in equipment decks, I think this is a very, very good option when you have stuff that can reduce equip costs, or Voltron builds where you're trying to get things, especially particularly your commander, in for damage. Protection from a color is absolutely huge and will be a boon for you most of the time.
Yeah, and you can just equip it, you know? Like, you can just equip it to something else.
I think it particularly works in, like, Arden Intrepid Archaeologist.
Yeah.
Because Arden is one of those commanders that can skirt equip costs completely.
Right.
And you can just be switching
a 2-drop
Sanctuary Blade all around to any of your creatures.
Yeah.
Yeah. Something I really like, or like an interaction that I think would be really fun, would be, and again, this is like my forced combat brain coming out, but if you're running like an Arden build that maybe focuses like on forced combat somehow, you could switch Sanctuary Blade, you could goad an opponent's creature, and then on combat, switch your Sanctuary Blade and put it onto that goaded creature and have it be swinging at something else.
Oh, interesting.
That could be really fun and cool. Yeah, because giving it protection from a certain color will apply to your opponent's creature as well, making it pseudo unblockable and hopefully furthering your strategy of having your opponents kill each other.
This is an interesting card. It's pretty.
It is, and it's so shiny.
Yeah. I there's not a whole lot to say about most equipment.
Sure.
Other than I think this is a versatile one. What sets are these from? Do you have that list open? It
was literally only printed in Commander 2020. So it was all those like Calamax, the Stormsire, and Ravine, the Chronoclast, or some guy. It was like a Jeskai.
So it's probably unused just because people don't have it.
Maybe. I don't know. I think the cost definitely factors in here, and also just the printing of like, because there's also like cards like Commander's Plate that are like just objectively better, but way more expensive. But people, the generic Magic player, I feel like, will be going for things that are just supremely efficient and just objectively better.
Well,
and I think this is just one of those cards that flies under the radar as a result, but can be very, very good in a lot of different applications.
I would say scoop this up if you can now. If it's only been printed in Commander 2020, you should scoop it because it's a cheap alternative. And if people are going to realize that because we're talking about it, you should get it while it's, 20 cents?
Yeah. Can we single-handedly dictate the price of Sanctuary Blade
on our first episode? Absolutely not.
The hubris that requires.
No, but 20 cents is a steal for a card that you might not 100%. Even have in your collection.
And I think it's very important to keep in mind that, like, for budget builds specifically, and I feel like a lot of people who are watching us anyways are sort of into that space in general, this is a card that will save you money and allow you to buy maybe some other like more powerful cards, because if you're buying Commander Plate or Lightning Greaves, that can really eat up if you're building for $50, that's like half your deck already.
Right.
And that's just 2 protection equipment. Instead of that, you could buy a Swiftfoot Boots and a Sanctuary Blade, and like you could be fine. You know what I mean? May not be the best thing in the world, but I think that's worth checking out, especially if you're building on a budget. Speaking of budgets, this other card is also good for budget builds.
Hell yeah.
It's our second to last card of the day. It's Acolyte Hybrid.
What?
2 in a red creature Tyrannid human from the Warhammer 40k precons. It has an ability which is called Heavy Rock Cutter. that just kills me.
That's gonna be a recurring keyword. Is that what that means?
I guess. Which, yeah, I mean, they're implying that it's an ability that's going to be used multiple times if it's in the italics, right? Like, I hope that there's other creatures that get printed. I hope that's not the only creature with Heavy Rock Cutter. Yeah, that's really good. That's the Magic the Gathering equivalent of like Rock Smash in Pokemon.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I do know what you mean.
Maybe if we get like a Universes Beyond Pokemon, it's like a Geodude
that will never happen
with Heavy Rock Cutter or whatever.
I hate to burst your bubble, but you know that Wizards of the Coast used to make Pokemon cards, right?
Yes, I know.
And that there's probably huge bad blood between these companies.
But listen, a person can dream, okay?
True.
I love both of those IPs a lot.
We could proxy it. Hey, comment down below if you want to see a Geodude proxy Magic card.
With Heavy Rock. I feel like Geodude was not the best choice. I feel like maybe like Drillbur or something like that, where it's like
Gen 5 cut.
Yeah. Oh yeah, unprecedented Gen 5. I'm kind of getting to know more Pokemon now. I used to only be like Gen 3 and back and like Sword and Shield Pokemon, so like all the Pokemon from Galar. But like I'm educating myself. I'm learning. But yeah, I feel like Drillbur proxy with Heavy Rock Cutter.
You got it. It'll say Acolyte Hybrid underneath, which is like, you know, the 3 layers. It's a Magic card of a Warhammer character that is a skin that is a Pokemon. I got you.
You know what? If we're gonna continue down this path of igniting our own hubris, someone make a proxy of Acolyte Hybrid and put it in the Discord of Drillbur, the Pokemon.
Yeah.
I'm guaranteeing someone's gonna do it now. I'm manifesting that.
In fact, let's just challenge everybody in the Discord who makes proxies. Think of your own proxy for Acolyte Hybrid.
That would be cute.
What is the best idea you can have to give somebody Heavy Rock Cutter? The best keyword in Magic the Gathering.
So we literally spent like 5 minutes talking about just the heavy. I haven't even
read the rest of the card. We haven't even explained what it does.
Okay, so Heavy Rock Cutter's ability is whenever Acolyte Hybrid attacks, and this is a very cool ability. So I think Heavy Rock Cutter could actually be something if they wanted it to. Whenever Acolyte Hybrid attacks, destroy up to 1 target artifact. If an artifact is destroyed this way, its controller draws a card and it's a 2/2. So here we have something from the Warhammer 40k precons that really jumped out at me when I was sort of like looking through the deck lists of the precons that they released, because there's so many ways, like Sanctuary Blade, for example, to get a creature in for combat damage for free, and this can be a very good way to just snipe all those problematic artifacts that we encounter in a game of Magic. Things like mana rocks, but also things like the Great Henge, which is like the greatest mana rock, and you know, countless other Bolas's Citadel, just all sorts of stuff. The list goes on and on that can be sniped by just this little uncommon.
Yeah,
I love it. And yes, it gives your opponents a card, but like they're gonna be drawing cards anyways, probably. So like, chill out. You know what I mean?
I'm chill, man. I'm chill. I'm still not.
Yeah,
quite...
it's more of like a general chill out.
Okay, I see.
Yeah.
I'm still not over Heavy Rock Cutter, man. I want it. Yeah. I like what it does. I like cards that, it's mean to destroy something, but also you could draw a card. I don't care.
Yeah, it's balanced.
That's progressing the gameplay. I think this is a fun and very unique thing to give a keyword. I'm just trying to like. Yeah. They're like, oh, more things should have destroying artifacts. I think let's put our tinfoil hats on for a second. Do you think this keyword could show up in the Thunder Rail Junction?
Ooh, that's true. That, or like any plane that's like more modern-ish. So like if they ever go back to New Capenna, that could be something too. But definitely that would be really cool, like sort of like mining,
I imagine,
or things like that.
Yeah, I imagine there's going to be artifacts, right? Trains and stuff. So I think this could be something that like that aesthetic actually would use again.
Yeah, that's getting me super fired up for Thunder Junction. That's probably the set that I'm most excited about next year.
Yeah.
Because cowboys, are you joking?
My wife hates the Western aesthetic, and I'm so excited to be like, no,
really?
But look, it's magic though.
So she does not enjoy cowboy aesthetics.
No.
Come on.
No,
I got a bone.
I think let me talk to her. Yeah, she doesn't. Yeah, she doesn't like.
Yeah, she doesn't like it.
She doesn't like
That's
it.
Fine. Which is fine. She's allowed to do that, but also I disagree.
Everybody has an aesthetic they love and an aesthetic they don't love.
That's fine.
Because everybody feels things and has opinions.
That's true. That's true. Quote us on that. Everybody feels things and has opinions.
Well,
EDH Jank Center podcast.
With the caveat, unless you don't.
Which is also valid.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that this is a great little card. It's a repeatable. I always say on the channel, love cards that do stuff.
Wouldn't you get?
And this is something that is repeatable on a body. Like it's not like I find, especially in red, removal is few and far between, and it's typically like instant or sorcery based, and you're just not gonna be utilizing it a lot unless you have ways to recur it, which will require more investment in mana to do so. However, if you have a way to get this again consistently in for combat damage, you can count on this being basically free removal after the first time you use it,
right? Which
I think is great.
I know Boros has always sort of had some like equipment undertone, but I really like, since Lorehold, this idea of red cards and artifact synergy that's sort of been an underlying philosophy for the color red, which wasn't there before because it was kind of missing, something on the pie.
Yeah.
And I think this card really shows that it's not just Lorehold that we're doing this with. We're doing some other, we're destroying artifacts, and there has always been like destroy artifacts cards in red. But it's cool to see creatures sort of now get those abilities and folded it. It feels a lot more cohesive of a philosophy, I think.
And notably, you can also snipe your own artifacts to draw cards. Like, this does not specify that you must target an opponent's artifact.
Card draw.
Yeah, exactly. Which I feel like is perfect for
red,
what
white.
Red represents in general, which is like chaos. And like, if you want to snipe your own mana rocks, do it. You can take a heavy rock cutter to your soul ring.
What are you gonna do about it, Dad?
Draw some cards. But I think also what I'm thinking now, this is just me sort of brewing in real time, is something that I really like is hitting your tokens with this. That maybe you're making some food tokens, or maybe you're making some blood tokens.
Ooh.
Where you don't necessarily like, it's not the best way to use your mana by actually sacrificing those tokens and using up your mana. You can actually use this as a way as fodder for
draw more cards.
Draw.
Right. So you have some engine to creating tokens, right? I mean, there's so many red. I mean, there's what's the dragon? The dragon that everybody likes. The one that's good. Goldspan. Goldspan Dragon.
I think that's the one that makes 2 treasures every time instead of 1 or something.
There's red token generators for this to work with your strategy. So
that's a great little set of cards. I'm happy with that. Let's move on to and obviously people don't know what we're doing because this is the first episode.
So explain it.
Every episode. Every episode, we have 4 cards selected by me that we talk about, and Cress knows what they are, and we're prepared before the show. But the 5th card of the 5 is a card that Cress picks at random, and I don't know at all what it is.
Chaos.
It's Cress's chaos pick of the day.
Yeah.
And I don't even know if we've titled that segment, but I like that. Cress's chaos pick of the day. And we're just going to have a chat about it. So, Cress, what is the card of the day, baby?
Okay, so for my pick of the day, I picked Garrick's Companion.
Garrick's Companion?
Oh, yeah, baby. 2 green. It's got trample, and it's a 3/2.
It never disappoints. It literally never disappoints.
This is a great card.
This is great. I love this.
Look,
this is amazing.
For only 2 green, and let's be honest, everybody who's playing green, you're gonna have 2 green on you. So
sure,
it's not too. You wouldn't maybe put this in a multicolored, like a too many colored deck, but like a double colored with green, you're gonna get your 2 green. This is a good card. This is 2 mana for a 3/2 with trample. And it's a common.
Yeah, no, this is great. This is like something that you could really bring down with like +1/+1 counters if you're running like, I don't know, something like, I could see this going into my Vorel of the Hulklade build.
Right.
Just by the virtue of the fact that it comes down cheap. It already has a keyword that's really, really good.
Yeah.
If you put a bunch of counters on this and you can just start swinging, it's a scary
it's
dude.
Just a good trample. This is a game-winning piece if you've got buffs. You know, like
for sure.
2 mana.
For sure. What's that? There's also a what is it? There was a commander that was recently printed. Oh, I found it. It's this could go in Tawnos the Toymaker, which is 3 green blue legendary creature human artificer. Whenever you cast a beast or bird creature spell, you may copy it, except the copy is an artifact in addition to its other types. So for 2 mana, you can get 2 3/2s with trample, buff them up, and just start swinging. I think this is a great pick. This is lovely. This geeks me out.
Where is it? There's a couple of reasons I picked this card, other than it's just good for the value, which for common cards that are under $1. That's not typically what you see. And so I
cheapest version of this card is 7 cents, by the way, for context.
That so cheap.
Nuts.
And the other reason I wanted to bring this card up is because it was printed in only 2 sets. It was printed in M11 and M12. So core sets. So I think it's cheap because a bunch of people have them, because that's kind of how core sets used to work. I just kind of wanted to talk about core sets for a little bit.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, we haven't seen a core set since core set 21, and I don't know that it's even on the slate in the future.
No, it's not. They stated that it wasn't making enough money, so they're not going to do them anymore.
Really?
Right. So this whole generation of Magic players, right, for us, the blocks are old, and for this generation, the core sets are old. And I just want to, we're going to miss this. I think having a core set really stabilizes the balance of a game. And not
what is a core set? Like, what is that? Is it just like
so it's at the top,
it was just a bunch of like sort of,
it does not have anything to do with the canon of the story. So each set in Magic the Gathering sort of progresses the narrative. The core set is sort of like the refresh every year, so that every year had a sort of like a base. This is how they introduced Planeswalkers as a concept. Without having specific this is where the original 5 monocolored Planeswalkers started. So core sets really felt like, I could be wrong on that, by the way, so if anyone wants to fact check me on anything I'm saying, feel free.
It helps with engagement if you're fact checking.
I'm just somebody, this is just based off of my experience as a player, this is the core set refreshed the game every year and sort of gave a standard, actual standards to sort of revolve around. So a meta, if you will. And so it feels like the meta is more or less like a live service now, right? With Magic Online and how how fast they release sets. There isn't really a time to fit in, but I think core sets could come back with the amount that they're pushing out now. I think when they stopped in 2021, they weren't releasing as many sets as they are now, but I actually think if they brought core sets back, they could do or maybe core set just for Commander. I mean, I guess that's what the Commander decks are kind of for each series. But I just missed
that's a bummer. There are some really cool cards that were printed in core sets.
Yeah, the 5-color pie, just like a decent. They're mostly reprints, or sometimes like this card, a card specifically made for core sets. But I just, this was such a fundamental piece of the meta and my growing up with Magic. So I think it was even before you guys really. I mean, you were playing before 2021, but before you guys were like really steep into card collecting.
Yeah, the first sets I remember like buying and like getting cards from were Throne of Eldraine, and then immediately after I got a bunch of like bulk from the LGS in LA that we used to go to, and it was from core set 20. Yeah. I remember like that's like burned into my brain, the little symbol of like
That M right
M20.
There. Yeah.
That's a bummer. But thank you for bringing this card to our attention. I love this. And again, I do believe a Thanos build specifically would really love this. But okay, now we're moving on to something we do every single episode here on the pod, which is we have polls that we question our Discord members with every single week in the Discord, which again is free to join. You can check it out in the show notes or the description below.
I'm there too.
And that is true. Cress and I are both active in the Discord where you can chat with us, you can post your deck lists, make a bunch of new friends. It's honestly a really, really fun and amazing community in there. And this week, our poll was, what color do you align with most in Magic the Gathering? And obviously, you know that there are 5 main colors in Magic the Gathering. There is green, blue, white, black, and red. And we're about to read the results live on air, and we're going to have a chat about it. Live on air. Like we're actually live on air. My God. Okay. Let's have a chat. The Crest has provided this very nice color pie, which I'm sure they're going to put up on.
It's going to look prettier on YouTube.
It's okay. It's great. It looks beautiful. And the results are thus: 27.5%, the top choice for the color that aligns with most of our members here, red, which surprised the hell out of me.
That's crazy for being the most popular. I feel like, I don't know if that's just because people are like, I just truly don't. And remember, this isn't necessarily the colors they like to play with. That's not how we phrase the question. So maybe that's like people, this is how they align with like their personality.
Correct.
Which is really,
that's what I kind of wanted to know.
This is really interesting.
Because there's that sort of like relationship I feel like we all have. And that's part of the reason why we get into Magic. All of us do, is there are factions that you can align yourself with. Factions that represent either psychology or ways of life or styles of play that you can gravitate towards. And I guess red... everyone loves a little bit of chaos, and I'm into it. I feel like personally I gave it some thought, because after I asked this in the Discord, a bunch of people were like responding, and we had a little chat about it, and I started to think maybe I was more of a green player. But I initially said that while I am a Selesnya mage at heart, love me some tokens, love me some peace and love, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like, I do align with red a lot. Like, I like open and aggressive styles of play typically.
Right.
And I do like a little bit of randomization and luck and chaos. So, but then someone brought up like big stompy creatures, and I was like, oh man, I really love that too.
But there's big stompy creatures in red.
That is also true. That is true.
So are you?
But that just really surprised me. 27.5% of all the people that voted, the top color was red, followed by black, which is at 21.25%.
Yeah.
Then we have blue, green, and white is the
order.
last one.
Yeah. I think black being second makes sense. I feel like it's pretty like the edgy.
The way I thought it was going to go in my mind was like green, black, blue, red, white.
I think, again,
but it
that's
ended up not
maybe
being that
how
way.
people play, but I think a lot more people like white to play with than red.
Fair enough.
I don't know. It's truly surprising. Blue is in the center. I 100% align with blue. I like playing cards that messes with people's decks. I like Mind's Magic. I like
and also blue is also very much about knowledge and like
that too. I like draw.
Like
I like the draw card strategy too. I mean, I also like the color blue.
And see, like, it's that simple too. Like, you know, I do like me some green. Green is my favorite.
But you know what? You're red color on the screen right now.
Am I red on the screen right now?
Yeah, that's the color for you.
Oh.
You've got the big red.
Sign a color.
You got the red poof out of your helmet.
Oh.
Oh, you think?
For context, we're
in a Discord call right now in person. We can see each other in real life.
Correct.
Not.
Cress and I can see each other, but I thought they were talking to me about my own hair.
No.
But then I realized that they were talking about what I look like on the YouTube video.
What you guys can see is that Jordan is red, which is interesting.
Correct.
We did do some tests. I could throw up Jordan with a green shadow if you want, just to see what the green Jordan looks like.
But now the brand is definitely the red and white knight.
The Boros
on
aesthetic.
The janky little horse. Yeah. But okay, I mean, I'm into this. This is a great little poll. This was very eye-opening. But we are almost at the end of the episode, which means it's time for our patron question of the day. And for those of you who do not know, the EDH Jank Center has a Patreon that you can join. Yes, Cress.
How do we join?
Well, you can take a look at the. Okay. All right.
You want me to do that?
You can take a look at the link in the description or the show notes. You can go check out our Patreon. If you join us at the $3 tier, you can submit questions for us to answer on the podcast. So if you join the tier, you can be put into a little Discord channel where I ask people for questions, and then we choose one, and then we'll answer it on, I was about to say live on air again, but on the podcast. And it's a fun way to just sort of like get our opinions on stuff. So if that interests you, you can go check it out. We have tons more tiers that are also a lot of fun. We can break those down at the end. But yeah. Let's get into our question of the day.
Mm-hmm.
So today's patron question of the day comes to us from our patron Brian, who is actually one of the day one supporters before Cress was ever editing my videos.
Thank you, Brian.
Anything. Thank you so much, Brian. You're amazing, dude. Brian is asking, what's your most memorable Commander game / moment? And that is a huge question.
I've had
definitely a lot of memories and like really fun moments in a game for sure. But I gotta go with, if I'm gonna pick one, it's gotta be the time where our old play group, when we were all together in Los Angeles, we're all like actors and artists, and we're all kind of weird, and we're always thinking of ways to just like spice the game up. Yeah, we're a little weird.
A little bit.
But anyways, just kind of abstract, and you know, we love some deep fried memes and stuff like that, you know. And one of us, I forget who, suggested that we play a completely silent game of Commander. And I think it was I geek about this even still today when I think about it. It was truly one of the funniest moments I've ever had playing any game, and honestly in my life. We were just cracking up because like to pass, we would just kind of gesture
not like with our hands
or like to attack, we'd like tap the card and like point, and then like point at the person we were attacking. And the rule was like you could only talk if you lost. And so I think it was like a 5-person game, and my gosh, we were just having such a laugh. It's such a good time, and it really represents to me what the actual spirit. People always talk about like the spirit of the format or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
The spirit of the format is the gathering of that is
somebody
actually what it's about, in my opinion.
Put that on a welcome sign.
Oh my god, yeah, the spirit of the
format is the gathering.
Quote me on that. Make some merch. I don't know.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, like I just think that it's, you know, any sort of like place where you can commune with others and sort of share in an experience, that is a very special thing. And
agreed.
It's just, we had that for a very long time in LA, and that was a very, very fun and really beautiful memory. Very fond when I look back on it, just full of laughs and full of good times. And I don't even remember. The thing is, I don't even remember who won.
I just remember.
Know that we had an amazing time, and it was so much fun.
Agreed.
So that's mine.
Yeah,
definitely.
That's nice. Mine is gonna sound selfish in comparison, so that's kind of
that's okay.
But
I did not intentionally set you up to look bad.
No, I know.
Everyone who's listening should know that Cress is like a fully fledged human being.
I wanted to, because a lot of the stuff I do remember is from like fun interactions, and I kind of want it to be about one of mine. So in the same vein of the spirit of the gathering, a lot of what we did was we made theme decks to start our journey as a play group. We kind of I remember the first group thing that we did was we wanted to make Game of Thrones commander decks.
Yes,
because that was
I still
popular
have mine
at the time. I'm actually going to remake mine because I want to. There's a lot more shapeshifters now than there were before.
Yeah, for sure.
So after our Game of Thrones decks, the first deck I ever made and brought to the table, I was making a deck with my wife. We were building decks together, and she's like, I want like a deck with fish in it. I was like, what? She's like, yeah, there's a ton of these fun fish cards.
Knowing her makes that so good.
So
so much better.
Yeah, in the theme of talking about mono blue, for me, I made a mono blue fish deck that is just sea creatures. It has a couple krakens in there, so it's not all just fish, but it's all sea creatures. Like there's no merfolk, there's no like fantasy element. It's just like whales and turtles and fucking just like things you see.
Crabs.
Yeah, and crabs. Just stuff in the water, and all of the spells have to do with water in some way. So like a lot of like sending cards back to your hand strats.
And now you know why I chose Cress as the co-host for the podcast. Because that is so janky.
And so
dude.
the first deck I played, and everyone was like, "Really? You're just playing fish?" And so for the first, like, you know, you play games, and nobody wants to target you right at the beginning. When you're not doing too well. And this deck has a pretty slow ramp. It's just one island. I play one island. Hey guys, you never guess what card I'm gonna play now. An island.
Yeah.
And when I play some fish, every single fish, everybody was laughing. So like every time I played like a sea creature, it'd be like, oh my god, a crab. You know, because we were playing in the Eldraine days, so we're used to some of these like more powerful cards at the time.
Sure.
And so this deck has a lot of like really just like that's 0/5 crab.
It's like draft chaff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like just proper like.
But that being said, there are some win con cards in there. There are some krakens. There are some big whales. Like once I have this 9 mana on the board, I just played a card and I swept with that very first game I played with the fish.
Correct.
Which was.
Yes,
it's never won again. But that first game, that's what theme decks are all about, baby. It's about wowing everybody so that nobody hurts you, so that they want to see what you can do with your fish.
It's about the feeling, you know.
Yeah.
It's about the. Yeah,
I should say it's never won again when I've played with it. My wife played it for the first time. When she played with it for the first time, also won with the fish deck. So
absolutely incredible on debut.
Yeah, it might just has a good luck on the first game it's played. I love that deck. I still love playing it.
Yeah,
it's so easy. It's also a good deck to teach people how to play the game because it's just like, oh, this creature has defender, so it's just a lot of creatures. There's some good blue spells in there to learn how to use instants and sorcery. It's such a good like you attack or you defend. There's no like weird wacky variables in it.
Crazy combos or like intense interactions. It's just like play a land, play a card.
Yeah. So sometimes I pull that deck out when I'm just like I don't really want to think. I just want to watch what other people are doing and just be a part of the table.
Well, I'd say that is quite a memorable moment. And speaking of memorable, let's plug the Discord and the Patreon. It feels so inorganic, but we got to do it.
Yeah.
So, hey, if you enjoyed this, if you want more of this stuff, you can absolutely join our Patreon we have 4 different tiers that you can check out. At our $1 tier, you get an extra entry in every single giveaway every month that we do. In the Discord, we do giveaways every single month of MTG product. We've given away altars, we've given away deck boxes, we've given away, by the time this comes out, we've given away a set booster box. Ooh, that's going to be really fun. But it's just, it's a really fun way to give, we just want to give back to the MTG community a little bit and just make people's days. And so you get an extra entry in every giveaway if you join at the $1 tier. At the $3 tier, you get to ask us, like I said earlier, the Patreon questions. You get to participate in the show a little bit. At the $10 tier, you get an extra entry, the Patreon questions, and you get an extra episode of the pod every single month.
And I will say about this extra podcast, it's not the same format that we do here. So it's not like a paywall to get like we're not hiding our show. This budget friendly show is for everybody, but we do have an extra project, an extra podcast episode that is deck tech focused,
basically, where Cress and I will pick the same commander and build 2 different decks, and we're just going to talk about the different decks that we built and talk about some cards, 5 cards each that we want to highlight and talk about a little bit. And it's going to be very fun, very cool.
If you're a member of the Discord, you'll probably see those deck lists.
Ooh, yeah, baby. Yes, they will. And also, then we have a last final tier. This is for the big boy spenders. This is for people who really, really love the vibe, the brand here, the philosophy that we carry at the Jank Center. That's a $25 tier. You get the extra entries, you get the questions, you get the extra eps, but you also get shout outs at the beginning of every single episode. And for those of you who do not know, because this is the first episode, we will be doing guest episodes once every 2 months or so. And these will feature other MTG content creators in a format called 5 Cards or Die, where basically we ask these favorite MTG creators of yours and ours their 5 favorite Magic cards and why. And we'll just have a chat and sort of talk about Magic the Gathering, a game that we all love so much. And because you're part of that tier, you get the chance, if you want to, obviously you don't have to, but you get the chance and the ability to be a guest on the podcast. We get to interview you about your 5 favorite cards and why. So that's the Patreon, but the Discord, folks, is free to join. You can just hop in there at any point. At the time of recording, we have 299 amazing members. So if you want to hop in and be our 300 and whatever, please do so. This community is amazing and really, really wholesome. And I think that's a good plug. How do you feel about that?
I think it's a great plug. The goal of this,
it's good first plug
of the EDH Jank Center is to expand the community and sort of spread the love of the format in ways that we think are missing from some of the major players in the industry. We see a lot of people talking about their deck techs and stuff. We see a lot of people talk about optimizing and what the strongest cards are.
Sure.
And we really want to highlight the budget cards, the player friendly stuff that matters, separate from the collecting side, because we think a lot of people do that already.
Yeah,
we want to highlight the fun.
Yeah, agreed. I couldn't have said it better myself. Not that there's anything wrong, obviously, with optimizing or anything like that, but we really do. I know I for sure just really love deck building as sort of an art form, and I wanted to start highlighting cards that I thought were really great that I saw no content creators talking about. So obviously, I want to say this as a disclaimer for all future episodes, okay? Anyone who's flaming us on the internet can refer to this episode right here. We know that these are not the best versions of whatever abilities. So we are trying to bring light to things that could save you money and just make deck building a more fun, creative, and unique experience.
You might already have the card you need for the theme or the vibe that you're going for. This is, that's the kind of vibe we want here. That's the kind of games we want here. We do have spell table happening, get-togethers in the Discord as well.
Yep.
People are doing games pretty much all the time.
At least once a week, I'd say.
Yeah, at least once a week. So there are people there who want to share that fun.
100%. And with that, I think we'll just leave these viewers to their own devices.
Say the thing again.
What?
Your new catchphrase, your new merch phrase.
Oh, and I guess we're going to sign off with this.
Yeah.
Remember, folks, the spirit of the format is the gathering.
Yes, Jordan.
And with that,
Jordan,
we're out of here.
Jordan, catchphrase.
We'll see you next time.